What's going on, guys? Jimmy Mahalik here, back with a second stimulus check update today for you guys. And in this video, we have some new breaking news that the second stimulus package and second stimulus check could be passed in July. In new breaking and unexpected news, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says that the Trump administration is working with the Senate and, more importantly, the Senate Republicans who's holding up the second stimulus check, that they're working with them right now and they're trying to pass a second stimulus check before July is over. Steve Mnuchin says that the administration supports a second round of economic impact payments to households and an extension of the unemployment benefits for furloughed workers and a much more targeted version of the Paycheck Protection Program, also known as the PPP program, for small businesses, which is that $1,000 to $10,000 grant that is a forgivable loan that I've covered in a previous video that goes out to small businesses or people with a side hustle. He goes on to say, I had a very productive call with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell yesterday. As soon as the Senate gets back from their July 4th recess, which is about a week away, we're going to sit down on a bipartisan basis with the Republicans and the Democrats, and it will be our priority to make sure between the 20th and the end of the month, the end of July, that we will pass the next legislation or the next stimulus package. Now, the key things here is that he's already talked with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who was basically like the big Grinch of the second stimulus check. He completely ignored the HEROES bill, the HEROES Act, which was passed by the Democrats in the House of Representatives about 50 days ago. And since then, the leader of the House, Nancy Pelosi, actually sent out a pretty mean and nasty letter calling them out for just ignoring the bill and not even negotiating on what the next stimulus package and the next stimulus check to Americans should be and what should be included in that bill. So this is actually huge news that the White House actually went out of their way to contact the Senate and to tell them that we need to negotiate with the Democrats and we need to make that our priority as soon as we come back from the July recess so that they can get that passed before they go on the August recess. Yes, they actually do get 2 vacations in 2 months. I know it's crazy. Now, I should state that the recess that the Senate and the House goes on is technically called a work period because what they do is they leave Washington and they go back to their home states where they were elected, and they're supposed to see the people and do work in their states because remember, if you're elected from California and you're all the way out in Washington, D.C., it's pretty hard to see what's actually going on in your state. So during this recess or this vacation, they actually go back to their state and they're supposed to be doing some work while they're there. Whether they do that or not, well, you guys can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. So, as you can see, apparently Congress is still doing some work and they could actually possibly start negotiating on this before they even come back from their July recess. So, we could have a lot of news coming out in the next few days. If they want to pass this next stimulus package before July 31st, then they're going to have to negotiate both the Republicans and the Democrats on what wants to go in that bill. Also, you know how the Republicans have said that they don't want to spend more than $1 trillion on the next stimulus package? Well, they've already changed their mind and they already have upped it to $1.3 trillion. I personally think that if they do include a stimulus payments or a bailout to the states and cities that are really struggling, it's probably going to need to be around $2 trillion or somewhere close to that. And if we start to see more states and cities shut back down than we're seeing now, we're going to probably see more stimulus payments and more stimulus packages even after this one. As much as they want to say, hey, we don't want the country to close up, or hey, we don't want to do more stimulus payments after this or more stimulus packages after this, if the virus continues to shut down the country, that will pretty much be the only option, that they will have to have more stimulus even after this next stimulus that they hope to pass in July. And also a quick note, I want to kind of tell you guys that the US is actually one of the lowest stimulus countries. I'll maybe go over that in another video, but lots of other countries have actually given more money to their people than the United States has, with only that $1,200 stimulus payment that was sent out to Americans. So remember, the whole world is dealing with this virus, not just the US. Now, some countries have it worse. Now, some countries don't have it as bad, but pretty much all across the globe, they're passing stimulus in their own countries. So as different countries print money, it's not just the US. So we don't really have to worry about inflation right now that much, because everybody across the world is pretty much doing the same thing, with several other countries actually doing monthly reoccurring stimulus payments to their people, kind of similar how to we're doing $2,400 per month in somewhat reoccurring payments to unemployed people. Also, in my recent video where we talked about Congress talking about only giving the second stimulus check to people that make under $40,000, well, we're already seeing a lot of pushback with that. McConnell had talked about another round of stimulus for only people who make $40,000 a year or less. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Thursday that families making more than $40,000 will likely need more assistance. She said she expected the next stimulus bill to have more than $1 trillion for help for American families and $1 trillion for state and local governments. I personally think that would be a great proposal, to have 50% of it go to Americans and American families, and 50% of it go to state and local governments. And then if they need more for small businesses or other programs, they can pass that later on, like they did with the PPP extension just recently. And that's a lot better than the 9% of the money that was going to go to Americans in the HEROES Act. That was a $3 trillion bill, and only $1,200 of that was going to go to American families, which worked out to be only 9% of the money. So if we get anywhere near 50%, we should all be pretty happy. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, if you can, hit the like button for me down below. It really helps out my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button down below. We're going to have lots of new news coming out about the next stimulus package, next stimulus check, when it's going to be and how much it's going to be in the next coming days. Nancy Pelosi says, "We are never going to have our economy come back unless we recognize that we must put money in the pockets of American people. It's absolutely essential that we come together in a bipartisan way to get this done." Steve Mnuchin also says, "I think if any extension of the PPP is going to be much, much more targeted to the businesses that really need this money and smaller businesses." So that is for people that have small businesses or even a side hustle, like you've started your own business selling products on Amazon, or you drive for Uber, or you're even 1099 as a real estate agent or anything like that. You actually qualify for that grant from the government, and they actually might extend it. So we may have more money coming to people with small businesses or side hustles in the near future. So some really good news today. The White House and Congress is both saying that they're going to try to pass the next stimulus package before July is over, and the Democrats have already passed a package, and Nancy Pelosi, you just seen it, She said that she is willing to negotiate. She's been wanting to negotiate for the last 50 days, and the only one holding us up is Mitch McConnell from the Senate, and he just said that he's willing to negotiate on this and work on this also. So when we actually negotiate, if we can get bipartisan support, they can pass this very, very quickly, literally in the matter of a few days. So make sure you guys are subscribed. I will keep you guys updated. And over here is my most recent video about reoccurring stimulus checks and another announcement from the White House about stimulus checks. And over here, I'll link a video that teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon. I have students that have made over $10,000 by selling just one product. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.